Hello and welcome to Fowl Plays, where we look at tales of tabletop tragedy that are sure to ruffle your feathers. I'm your host, Boss Goose, and today's story features a player who, after receiving a small reward from the local law, turned aggressive and tried to lash out, despite the party's intervention. Without further delay, let's dive on in. I've been a DM for more than 2 years now, but I've mostly played with coworkers and friends. A few weeks ago, I decided to try playing with some people I'm not personally familiar with to get some fresh perspectives and to make sure that I can find ways to improve. When you play with the same people over and over again, feedback tends to be, yeah, it was great, as always. So I went to LFG and found someone who said they have a group and are now looking for a DM. Sure, why not give it a try? After some back and forth, we figure out that we'll do a one-shot mini-adventure to see about group dynamics and how everyone plays. It went really good. Everyone seemed fun, a few technical hiccups, but that's it. Plan now is to try an actual campaign. Next week, Session 0. I end up talking to a player from a different campaign, and end up asking him if he would like to join this other adventure. In Session 0, introduce my friend, all of them are okay with him joining. I give them the basic premise of the adventure, Prince's the Apocalypse. They all make characters and we talk about different stuff. Now, at this point, I have to admit, I haven't really done a Session 0 before. So I looked at some tips and used those. I also talked about notes I took the week before. Everything seems good. Before the end, we all joke about how some of the characters are somewhat edgy, at least on the surface. We had a fiendish warlock, banished from his home, who wants to collect the souls from others, a sorcerer whose entire bodily features are obscured by darkness, a rogue, monk whose master died under mysterious circumstances, and finally my friend, with a half-Aarakocra Goliath fighter, rejected by both sides of his family. Cue to today, first session. All the PCs find themselves in a small town. Being level 1, each one tries to make the beginnings as an adventurer. The party begins to hang out and starts looking for work that would suit them. After following some rumors, they learn about some ghosts and goblins potentially occupying an old tomb, just a few miles from here. The party ends up finding out it was just one goblin and a half-ogre, trying to scare and mug people. Some fun encounters later, the party leaves the tomb and its ghostly guardian, and ends up dispatching the two other troublemakers. Cue more edgy jokes as the fighter decides to keep the head of the half-ogre on the end of his pike while marching back to town. A few jokes on how edgy and weird this is, some party members staying away from the fighter, but good spirits all around. The party returns to town and end up talking to the constable who works in the local butchery on the side. He thanks the party, offering them a small reward of 2 gold pieces each, and is about to offer them another quest for more riches. Cue me saying he hands everyone 2 gold pieces, and the sorcerer saying, "Oh, well, if he kills things, then he should be ready to die. I cast Chaos Bolt." Quiet for a few moments. I ask if he could repeat that, since I think I just misheard. He repeats that he casts Chaos Bolt onto the constable. I again ask him why, and he repeats himself. At this point, I ask everyone else what their stance is. Most aren't even sure what to say or how to respond. After the sorcerer insists again, I tell everyone to roll initiative. First goes the rogue, then the constable, then the sorcerer. Rogue says he wants to grapple the sorcerer and ask him what he's doing. He manages to grapple him. I ask the sorcerer player if this makes him change what he's doing. He says no. Now it's the constable's turn. His stats are that of a veteran. He picks up the sword that he keeps in the room, and he knocks the sorcerer out with his attacks. The constable, his assistants, and the rogue put the sorcerer into shackles, and the NPC asks the party, what just happened? The party is unsure. They just met him recently, and only ever went adventuring with him this one time. The warlock makes a slight deception, saying that maybe it had something to do with the ghost they fought inside the tomb? The sorcerer never even went close to it. The constable agrees, and tells them the sorcerer is going to remain in custody for the night. And, if it turns out true, or he explains himself, he will let the sorcerer go if one of the party members chooses to take responsibility for him and make sure nothing else happens. Cue the next day, but not before the sorcerer tells me he wants to cast Chaos Bolt into the traitor who grappled me, or the guy who knocked me out. while locked in his cell. I tell him he's shackled and they took his stuff away. The party joins the trial and begins to question the sorcerer. The sorcerer reacts rash and angry at the party, not an ounce of trying to repent or agreeing he did anything wrong. I ask for a few different checks while the party thinks of what they could do, but each attempt is thwarted by the sorcerer. The constable asks sorcerer directly for him to explain himself. Sorcerer: I remain quiet. The constable tells him this is his last chance. Sorcerer: I remain quiet. I take a breath, and I let the sorcerer player know in that case his character is going to be taken to jail, and that he would need to make a new character to continue playing. Player says, okay, and leaves the Discord server without another word. The rest of the group tries to collectively process what just happened. After a short break, we end up continuing to play, and also having some good fun for the rest of the session, and the 5 of us plan on continuing the rest of the adventure. Eventually the sorcerer writes me on Discord, saying he's sorry for the shit he did, that he needs to figure some stuff out, and that he won't be joining us for future sessions. But for me, the DM, the strangest thing is that this is now the second time a player in my games decided to attack the local authorities out of nowhere while being level 1, ending up in chains and completely refusing to make amends, even doubling down. I guess I should make sure to start all my games at level 2, just to be sure this doesn't happen again. Okay, so this situation could have definitely gone worse, and all things considered, I'm glad that it was resolved as peacefully as it was. There's nothing inherently wrong with making an edgy character, and when played well, they can really shine. But being cool and edgy does not mean you randomly attack NPCs with no justification or reason behind it. It seems like the sorcerer felt that the low reward of 2 gold each was maybe an insult to them, and while it may be on the lower end for an adventuring PC, I wouldn't say it's really an unreasonable bounty for a small-time job from the local law, and clearly this was a gateway job to bigger and better things if he had just waited. To suddenly attack the quest NPC and then not take the out or offer an explanation when your party tries to save you from yourself is kinda ridiculous in my opinion. He did end up apologizing after, and not knowing his real life situation, I don't want to come down too hard on them, but remember, D&D is a group game, and everyone should work together to make it a great experience. If that doesn't sound like the experience you're looking for, maybe D&D just isn't the game for you. Anyway, thanks for checking out my video and sticking around till the end. I hope you enjoyed yourselves. I'm going to be uploading new videos every Thursday and Sunday, so make sure you check out my channel. And if you like this video, go ahead and leave me a goosebump in the comments below. But until next time, I'm Boss Goose, and be good players.